U.S. President Donald Trump has asked 7 other countries for help policing the Strait of Hormuz. That key waterway has been effectively closed by Iran since the U.S. and Israel started the war in Tehran. 1/5 of the world's traded oil normally flows through that strait, with the shutdown pushing oil prices to stay over $100 a barrel. Here's more of what Donald Trump had to say.
Demanding that these countries come in and protect their own territory because it is their territory. It's a place from which they get their energy, and they should come and they should help us protect it. You could make the case that maybe we shouldn't even be there at all because we don't need it. We have a lot of oil.
Let's get a bit more analysis now from France 24's Angela Diffley, who joins me on the set. Angela, also today we heard from the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer about the UK's involvement in the Strait of Hormuz. What did he have to say?
Yeah, he was very clear. He said he would be guided by UK interests and that the United Kingdom would not be drawn into a wider war. He's had a bit of a slanging match with, well, a one-sided slanging match with Donald Trump. Donald Trump berated him in the early days of the war. He said that Washington had asked the UK for the use of UK military base in the Indian Ocean. Britain had refused. Later, Keir Starmer allowed the use of that base only for defence purposes. Later on, Trump said, look, you're now proposing to send warships. Too late. This war is won. Don't try and enjoy a war when it's already won. Well, you know, things have moved on considerably in the last 2 weeks, and we now find Donald Trump asking various countries to help try to unblock the Straits of Hormuz. You know, Keir Starmer is fairly comfortable with the position he has taken in the United Kingdom. He thinks he is in line more or less with public opinion. Don't forget, the spectre of the 2003 Iraq war hangs heavily over any decision by a Labour government on joining the US in a war in that part of the world. And Keir Starmer appears to think that that is the best course of action to take. It should also be noted, you know, that the United States has been very careless about preparing public opinion around the world. It has repeatedly berated its allies and found itself now in a position where you would expect the United Kingdom public to be more or less on the side of the United States. But many Labour voters, at least, do not want Britain to be on the same side as either Donald Trump or Benjamin Netanyahu.
And what about Donald Trump's view on NATO's obligations and all of that? He's trying to use that as an argument as well.
Yeah, he was saying, you know, if NATO allies don't come to our defence, you know, well, not to our defence, but if they don't help us unblock the Straits of Hormuz, we will remember. Again, Keir Starmer, for one, his minister this morning, said this is not a NATO war and explained how the London point of view that NATO was not conceived for this sort of event. Of course, Article 5 in NATO means that if one member country is attacked, the other member countries must come to its aid. But this, he said, is a war of choice, that NATO was not conceived for another member to enter a war of choice and then obligate all the other NATO members to join. Mark Rutte, the NATO boss, has been fairly quiet on this. It will be interesting to see what he has to say later on that. Even though it might not be seen other than by Trump as a NATO war, and that is arguable, it is very much entwined with the United States' position on Ukraine. Europe is worried that if it angers Trump too much, he will stop providing intelligence to Ukraine. And so these things are very intertwined.
Certainly. Starmer, though, just very briefly, it's important to underline that he said it is important to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, that, of course, is in British interests. It's in global interest to get the economy moving again. He made that very clear. He said that Britain would be working with allies, very unclear who they were, European and the US, he said, to try to unblock it. Very mysterious, didn't really explain how that might be done. The European Union is also having talks about perhaps redirecting its Red Sea naval mission to this area. But again, it's unclear how the Strait of Hormuz might be unblocked at the moment.